I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Finally, The Rock has come back. I hate this idea that you're the best.
And if you're not down with that, we got two words for ya!
I'm the best in the world.
I fight at WrestleMania for the very, very small percentage of people that walk this planet and say I am proud to be, I'm sorry, a professional wrestler.
Oops, I'm breaking the fourth wall.
It's Podcast of the Immortals with your hosts, Matt Bush and Jimmy Bellamy.
Welcome to episode 18 of Podcasting Immortals. I'm Matt Bush.
I'm Jimmy Bellamy, and we can now buy lottery tickets legally.
Yeah.
Episode 18.
We can go into strip clubs.
Yes, we can do that. And we can...
Go to war.
We can... we can go to war. We can also buy tobacco products.
Yeah.
And we can drink in Canada.
Yeah. Or Wisconsin with an adult.
We could do that at 8.
Well, yeah.
So we were legal to drink in Wisconsin months ago.
That's true. But yeah, welcome to the show. We got a good one for you. We're going to be recapping the go-home show for Payback of Monday Night Raw. We're going to be previewing the Payback pay-per-view with our predictions.
What?
And why do you keep...
Nothing. I threw a toenail in the garbage can.
Oh, I thought you were like nodding, like, check it out.
No.
And I'm like, there's just a wall here, sir.
Check out my toenail.
Yeah.
No, I long distance threw it into the garbage can.
Nice.
Picking my toenails.
And then we have a cool top 10 for you. We're going to kind of build on the theme that we did last week with the tag teams. Expand that to, is it a faction or is it a, what's the other term for it? Isn't there like...
Stable?
What's the difference?
I go with faction. It's the same thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're going to go with factions. Top 10 factions. So we'll get right into Raw. Of course, Triple H following through on his promise to come out and be ready for a match against Curtis Axel, and he comes out.
He's gonna puke. Sorry, I just had to say that.
Of course, Mr. McMahon comes out, interrupts the match, and declares Curtis Axel the winner. Triple H then restarts the match. Mr. McMahon comes back out, declares Kurt Axel the winner once again, takes the bell, takes the microphone from the ring announcer, and leaves.
That was after Triple H declared it a 60-man Iron Man match. 60-minute Iron Man match.
He did?
For the third time, yeah.
Oh, God.
And then
there were 3 times?
Yeah, and then Vinnie Mac said, "Stop the damn match."
Yeah.
That was an awful JR.
And he took his bell and went home.
I wasn't even trying with that JR. Yeah, he took the bell on the mic and he said, "You're fired." No, I didn't say that.
You're just loving the Mr. McMahon quotes today.
I'm just picturing his waddle in my head right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I just really hope this whole angle's going somewhere, because right now I'm getting a little bored with it.
To me, it seems pointless at this point, and there needs to be some kind of, I don't know, payoff here, because Triple H has been so good over the years at making something out of his angles, whether it's turning heel or if he is a heel at the time, pissing somebody off, or as much as he buried people, he would, at least he'd get some people over. I mean, whether
well, he's lost more than he's won at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and this one just seems kind of like filler.
Yeah,
and
it's really weird.
I feel as if the 3 people involved in it right now, the McMahons, they're the only ones who care about this. I don't think the fans care. I don't think anybody's really asking for it, and it doesn't seem to be fitting in anywhere. So hopefully it ends up with some kind of resolution with one of the 2 men involved taking some kind of power over the other, or Stephanie stepping in and doing somebody becoming a true bad guy or something.
Could it lead to the overthrow of Vince as the boss?
Maybe, but I don't know if that will even matter, because it was 2 years ago when Triple H said the board of directors kind of shooed Vince away.
Yeah, that's true.
But then Vince came back months later and did the same thing to Triple H.
Guess what?
And it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it was dumb. You know what I would like to see? I would like to see Triple H kind of take fully on, the managerial role of Raw, or of the whole brand, but still get hands-on, if you want to say. Like, he'll come out and beat someone up and be like, you know what, this is my show. Or that was Mr. McMahon. But, in his Triple H way of talking, basically controlling the show, like getting over his buddies, and
that's what I would like to see too. If he could just make a match at any time, whether it involves him or not, or put a guy like Cena through a hell of a show by giving him guy after guy to have to go through, or just making it impossible for him to overcome odds. Just like McMahon did to Austin. You need to have a heel authority figure for anybody to get over as believable, or at least interesting. And right now, Cena's character is just so beyond stale that the only way, and I've said it before, that I'll pay attention is if Triple H becomes his adversary. It's some kind of authority figure that is in the way.
Well, what I would like to, they had Austin. Cena's no Austin.
No.
The only talents on the roster who could, talent-wise, possibly get to that level is CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. I think we can agree, at least with that.
What about Randall, Keith, Orton?
No.
No? Okay.
Not in my opinion. Okay. Not yet, anyways, because he got to that plateau and he's stayed there. Mm-hmm. He hasn't picked his game up. He feels like he's going through the motions. He's gotten a little better lately. But right now, I think that Bryan and Punk could run up against a Triple H. Triple H not wanting Daniel Bryan to be his champion, just like Vince didn't want Austin to be his champion. He wanted a corporate champion. Well, Triple H could look at Daniel Bryan and go, "You're too small. I don't want you to be my champion. You're a dweeb. You got goat face. Like I want someone like John Cena. I want someone like Ryback. And Triple H has always been a big guy, so like it'd be believable. Like, why would I want this as my champion? And he keeps putting all these obstacles in his way, and it leads to Daniel Bryan eventually winning the WWE Championship. And I do have some breaking news, and I don't know if you read this.
I haven't. I haven't done anything in the last 2 days. I've been swamped with
complete spoiler
the real
alert.
world.
If you don't want to know a big spoiler, do not listen for the next 2 minutes or so.
I'm excited.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan will be taking on John Cena in the main event at Money in the Bank for the WWE Championship.
How do you know that?
It was just got out there.
But how do you know it's true?
I don't know it's true.
Okay.
But it was a pretty reliable source, and everyone picked it up.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So basically, they said he's not going to turn heel. He's not going to, do the CM Punk thing or whatever. He's just going to be the character he is right now. And they're going to put him into the main event and give him a shot against Cena.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
It's good.
But it kind of gives up
what happens
in the main event this week.
Payback, yeah.
But that's huge news for me, and I'm very, very excited now.
That's sweet. I hope they follow through with that and don't make any last-second changes.
Yeah. I wish they always could, but he's so hot right now. Daniel Bryan is just...
And you saw at the end of that match against Seth Rollins on Raw, when they did the wide shot of the crowd, and I know it's fun for everybody to do what and yes and everything, but the majority of the people in the crowd were moving their arms and chanting yes. That was cool to see.
Not only that, they want him to win. It's not like Fandango where you have a fun time dancing, but you don't give a crap if he wins or not. They are actively cheering him to win, and you don't see that very often in a crowd anymore.
That's true.
You got the young kids loving him because he's funny and he's got a goat face or whatever, and then you got the diehards, the diehard fans who just love the crap out of him because he's probably the best wrestler in the world right now. Like, in the world, literally, like the best wrestler right now. Yeah. And people respect him for that, and the whole crowd's in unison. It's really rare.
A lot of best in the world. I tweeted to comedian Marty DeRosa the other day. He was talking about Cesaro and how entertaining he was, and I said he's one of the best wrestlers in the world, and he replied back, agreed. I agree. And I mean, they have Cesaro, you have Bryan, you have Punk, you have, of course, Chris Jericho, who is the best in the world at what he does, unquote. And you look at Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins. I mean, I'm not just going to sit here like I'm in love with all these guys, but
I'm in love with all those guys.
If the company plays its cards right, you have some solid wrestlers.
Yeah.
And if they can put the emphasis back on that, which they have in recent weeks.
And I think the 3-hour format is kind of, they finally realized, like, okay, we can actually showcase these guys. You're seeing new moves. You watch a Daniel Bryan match, you'll see 5 new moves you haven't seen in wrestling in 10 years.
And that's what they need to do. Michael Cole around WrestleMania time was in an interview, and he said, that sounded funny. He was in an interview. He was doing a radio interview, and he said that it's hard sometimes for them to remember every little point that they're supposed to touch on, every little thing that they have to hype and promote.
Yeah.
And it's tough with the 3-hour format to fill and go over and over, see Brock Lesnar's segment 5 times. They don't need to do that.
They don't.
Put on some great 10 to 15 minute matches. That Seth Rollins Daniel Bryan match was 16 minutes.
And it was unbelievable. We'll get to that soon, but it harkens back. I mean, a few years ago, these guys were in Ring of Honor, as Tyler Black and Bryan Danielson, and they were having these kind of matches every night. And people are going crazy for it. And we're finally, as a national audience, getting to see the quality of matches that they were putting on back in like 2005, I think.
When the NHL lost the 2004-2005 season to a lockout, when it came back, you started to see more American and more college hockey players entering the NHL. When in years past, you would see guys tear it up in the college ranks, and then they'd stop short in the minors, and just they would never make it to the NHL, or if they did, they'd be bit players and role players. I'm starting to see, after that first season of NXT, WWE has embraced independent wrestling, or at least embraced the talent from these independent wrestling promotions, like they never have before. A lot of times they would just get their own guys and throw them in developmental, but now they're taking guys who have proven themselves, and they're still molding them to fit the TV format and fit the WWE entertainment format. But they're using these guys, and they're creating a better product. And I think you're going to see it a couple of years from now when some of these guys have been allowed to put some roots down and establish themselves as big time players. I love seeing it because it wasn't that long ago when this was maybe pre-punk promo or a little after that, where I was saying that some of these other guys need to get a chance, and they're doing it. They're getting a chance, and
it's great to
sink
see.
or swim. And
the product has consistently gotten better over the last 6 months or so. I'm really loving the actual product that they're putting out. Some of the storylines are bogus, they're kind of lame, but the actual wrestling, the in-ring stuff, is really taking it to a good level.
They've had a few clunkers. They're approaching, I think it was July last year they went to 3 hours. It was right after Raw 1000.
I think that's about right.
So you figure, okay, they've been given a year of grace to kind of find their momentum, find their groove, and I think slowly but surely they are. And that's not to say that they won't come back next week and have a stinker, but they'll be coming off the heels of a pay-per-view, so that would be a good bet to maybe build a little steam, especially if your Bryan push ends up happening. He'll be big again next Monday. So
well, I just love to see it, and he's gotten over against all the odds, and it's awesome to see. So that was our first match of the day. 15 minutes in the show. Triple H wants to beat up Mr. McMahon, but Steph cries and talks him out of it. It was a really weird promo from Stephanie.
Yeah, real uncomfortable moment when she was making reference to Vince squirting her kids with a hose.
Yeah. Think about him in the pool. Think about that. Okay. We had Kane versus Dean Ambrose. Kane had the upper hand and looked like he might win the match before the Shield attacked. Orton and Daniel Bryan, of course, comes out to Kane's defense, which was cool, of course, But they were out there like wiggity split.
Wiggity split,
Wiggity wag. We head backstage. Daniel Bryan and Orton were talking with Kane, and Vicky says that there's going to be a tag team match. You're going to be in it, Daniel Bryan, for the tag team championship. on Sunday. And he's like, what? Team Hell No gets another chance? Da, da, da. Well, guess what? It's not Team Hell No. It's Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton, Team RK No.
Oh, don't say team. You can just be RK No.
RK No. And they're going to go against The Shield for the Tag Team Championships. And Kane is going to take on Dean Ambrose for the U.S. Championship.
My guess is titles don't change hands in either match, and do you have Kane cost Orton and Bryan the championship, either intentionally or unintentionally?
Well, if they're gonna go with the plans that I told you about for Daniel, I really don't know how they booked this. Like, because they have 1 month. They obviously need to dissolve the Team Hell No band or whatever.
Not necessarily. They could keep them around, where at least maybe they go on the back burner, or they have that unexplained. Oh, they don't have matches anymore as a team, but they can still be chummy or buddies or something. What else could happen is, I mean, Orton and Bryan could win. It wouldn't be the first time that somebody had a quick tag team title run.
I think it'd be interesting if they actually did win.
It would make it more interesting, especially since my thought is that the Shield will retain the championships. I don't think they'll take the belts off of them that quickly.
For a storyline, though, I mean, if Orton and Daniel Bryan end up being the tag team champions right after Kane and Daniel Bryan's 10-month run, I could see that leading to a split of Hell No. Because then Daniel Bryan's like, maybe I wasn't the weak link. Maybe you were the weak link. Yeah. Because I won with this guy over here.
Yeah, it's possible.
I think that'd be really interesting. Probably won't happen, though. But like you said, I do think the Shield will win.
It's a scenario that is plausible. And although that would kind of put Daniel Bryan in the heel position. If he were
really. I mean, the way
way.
it's naturally evolved, I really don't think he'd be a heel because he won a match with Randy Orton.
No, if he says that Kane is the weak link.
Yeah, that's true.
That would kind of be a heel tactic.
But he's kind of been heelish anyways. He's kind of been that,
Well, and the only way, or not the only way, but a way to stomp that out right away is just have Kane lose it and just snap. I mean, then he gets all the heat. So
yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It could be interesting either way, really.
It'll be a good match.
Yep. Miz took on Cody Rhodes. The Miz won in quick fashion. Unfortunately, Cody Rhodes looks like he's going to be sitting in the mid-card for a while again. Just kind of swimming, not with no direction. He's not even in Rhodes Scholars anymore because Sandow's moved on, it looks like. The Miz will take on Wade Barrett for the Intercontinental Championship on Sunday. Fandango's out with a concussion, which is unfortunate. But Paul Heyman comes out after the match and announces that Curtis Axel
hurt my ears.
Will be added to the match, and we'll still have the triple threat match for Sunday for the IC belt.
I mean, that has to be a foregone conclusion.
You think Axel will win that?
I think that's the only way. I almost said the internet title, Zack Ryder's Internet Championship. The IC title, it doesn't have any traction with Barrett because he's not. They're not getting any opportunities to showcase it. And you put it on Axel. He's undefeated as Kurt Axel. He has this championship.
He has 4 wins over Triple H. He's got a win over John Cena.
2 wins over.
Over John Cena. Just
and then he beat Jericho.
Yeah, just killing the field.
So to me, it at least gets people talking about the Intercontinental title again, and this guy can still boast that he's perfect. And also, interesting point, if he wins, and I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure if he wins, he and his dad, Mr. Perfect, will become the first father-son duo to have the IC title.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
No Cowboy Orton
didn't exist, I don't think. Really? I mean, Pat Patterson was the first IC title holder, and I'm pretty sure Bob Orton never held the championship. Never held it. Yeah. So, and I don't think Dusty, and I know Dusty Rhodes didn't either.
Cool. Interesting. So Jericho comes out after the Paul Heyman announcement for a promo. Says he needs to beat CM Punk to make up for his loss at WrestleMania 28 and the following match at Extreme Rules last year. And Ziggler actually came out and interrupted the promo by Y2J, and he challenges him to a match, and Jericho accepts. Well, Ziggler has better ideas, and he says, well, I said I'd give you a match. I didn't say I'd be in it, and Big E Langston is going to take you on
Jericho
instead.
Jericho challenged Ziggler to a match that night.
Yeah.
And he said, you've got your match with Big E, and I'm going to guess, now they're saying on TV that Ziggler's 100%. I'm guessing they're just going to hold him off until the pay-per-view, because he was supposed to wrestle this weekend and he didn't. So I think they're probably going to just...
I'm still worried about him.
I know, I have a feeling that even if he says he's 100%, who's to say that? He's being
and he's lost a lot of momentum.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was flying high after the Raw after Mania, of course.
He was looking as good as Bryan is now, with the exception of
not.
No, I mean
that high.
I'm going to qualify it with other than the fact that he lost and came close to losing some of those matches where maybe a world champion shouldn't have that close of a scare, that much of a scare. But as far as the attention he had been given by the company is close to where Bryan is right now.
That. I'm really worried he's gonna hurt himself, or they're just gonna strip him of the belt and push him back down.
Yeah, to me, Alberto Del Rio seems like he's one of Vince McMahon's nookie blankies, where it's like, when in doubt, give Del Rio the belt, and they have that nookie blankie with Cena. And Vince might be thinking, we have a guy right now who's injured, who is maybe injured indefinitely, because you never know with head injuries. And now, with head injuries being taken so seriously, as they should, in professional sports, wrestling is kind of slow to pick that up, to realize, okay, you had a concussion and you can't wrestle tonight or tomorrow? Well, I guess we'll have to do something. I can see them putting the belt on Del Rio just to say, look, it's safe. We don't know about this other guy, so we're just going to give it to Del Rio for a while.
You know, it's real interesting that I can't count past one where this has ever happened, but I'm more interested in what happens with the U.S. Championship than the World Heavyweight Championship at this point. Dean Ambrose and Kane?
I agree with you a little bit because it's on Ambrose, but Kane as U.S. champion, I don't even think that'll happen.
I don't think it will happen either, but I just think the storylines that got us to this point are way more interesting than...
Well, we've had a storyline. WWE, I think, missed its golden opportunity, which you set up with having Langston lay claim to the championship, or have Ziggler lose it because Langston loses a match where he's representing Ziggler, something like that.
It would have been awesome.
They missed a chance.
Yeah, big time. It would have been really, really cool. But bygones. And so the Big E Langston match versus Jericho. Langston was pretty much controlling the whole match. Hit him with a triple backbreaker, which was kind of cool. And he ends up losing after Alberto Del Rio distraction led to a code breaker. Del Rio actually attacked Dolph Ziggler, who was ringside, and it cost him the match, and Jericho wins after a big code breaker to the skull of Big E.
I like the code breaker, but it's kind of tough to make believable on.
It was totally choreographed. You can see Big E going.
And it was, it's not easy to pin Big E.
No.
Just physically, it's not easy to pin, but the code breaker is billed as a devastating move. I like that move because it is kind of a RKO-ish come out of nowhere move.
Yeah, I love it.
Stunner like.
I love when he hits it like off the top rope or out of a crazy spot. It was really cool. Our next match was Sin Cara versus Antonio Cesaro. It was really good to see Cesaro back on Raw. He hasn't had a lot of time. Heck of a match too. It was very similar to a match that they had on SmackDown a couple months ago, and that included that one move, the crazy move. I don't know what it's called, but you know what I'm talking about. Right? Where Sin Cara kind of like flipped Antonio Cesaro. Mm-hmm. And we talked about it back then, because I'm like, Cesaro can wrestle in any style.
Yeah.
And being loud, I'm sorry.
No, that's no worries.
Okay.
And you guys are wondering, it's about 10.
It was like 10 o'clock.
It's 10 o'clock. It's not a big deal. My roommate doesn't hear very well anyway, so it's quite all right.
Okay, I'm worried about your roommate.
I wouldn't worry about it at all. But we're recording a little later than normal right now, but it works out. Yeah. It'll be all right. But back to this match, Cesaro, I know in his training he's trained in a lot of different disciplines, and I know Mexican wrestling was one of them.
And you can tell.
Yeah, and with this match, my concern was, and it didn't happen thankfully because he's hurt. I don't know if he's really hurt, but when Zeb Coulter was at ringside for this match, or on the commentator booth, in the booth, whatever you want to call it, I was worried that this was a match set up for Swagger to just interfere and beat up both guys because they're non-Americans. Yeah. And I thought if they jobbed Cesaro that way, I'm done. And thankfully, Swagger wasn't there, and Cesaro was able to just have a great match.
What was interesting is Coulter was actually talking up Cesaro because he is a legal alien. He came here, for opportunity, but he
speaks English.
Yeah, and he speaks English. Sin Cara doesn't respect the American people, and he crossed the border.
And he wears a mask.
Yeah, and he wears a mask because he wore that mask so he could sneak across the border and no one would know. It's just ridiculous shit he was saying. But what I'm hoping is, since Swagger's fallen off the map again, that Coulter and Cesaro team up. I mean,
that'd be cool.
I don't know how it would work, but...
Well, I think they could easily make that happen if Cesaro... he had that U.S. title run, and he talked about how he was here to save Americans, and they can make that work if they wanted.
Yeah.
That'd be great to have somebody in Cesaro's corner, because he will take any momentum he gets from that.
It'd be huge for Cesaro to latch on to Coulter, especially after that big run he had with Swagger.
Yeah.
People talked about more about Coulter than they did Swagger. Swagger's just kind of that muscle,
Yeah. It'd be great. Oh.
Yeah. Next we had another Bray Wyatt video, and I'm getting really excited about their debut. It's going to be really cool.
I'm pumped for that as well.
Yep. Next match we had Reigns versus Randy Orton. Match was all right. Ends in a no contest after...
I'm sorry if I'm getting technical, or nitpicky even. Why was it a no contest? Why wasn't it just a double disqualification?
It was really weird because the Shield attacked first, correct?
Yeah.
And then Daniel Bryan came in to help. Well, it should be a disqualification of the Shield if you want to really get technical.
That's true.
But they just ended it, and then the two guys, Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins, were ready to rumble.
Have their match.
Like a better match. And I was worried that was going to end in a weird fashion, but holy crap. I know every single... and I say this part, too. I say this part, okay, every single week I literally say that. But another awesome match by Daniel Bryan. Seth Rollins, we talked about it earlier, but insanely good. And it ended in a roll-up. Just a basic roll-up. No one got their finisher in. Daniel Bryan it was a sneaky move, and they were just laying into each other. They're putting everything on the line in that match.
They had moves off the top rope. They had moves off the ropes. They had
jumping out of the ring.
Outside activity. They had mat wrestling.
A lot of mat
submissions.
Wrestling. Holds, yep.
It was a blast. And I'd say for anybody listening, I'm sure we get people with maybe varying degrees of fandom or wrestling knowledge or enthusiasm. But if you're just a casual fan, or you're just checking this out for kicks, and you're maybe not as into wrestling as people who are into wrestling, check out Daniel Bryan. Just the guy, it's not even a matter of being a fan of him, it's just appreciating
the technical ability,
somebody's ability, and also just their passion. The guy looks like he loves what he's doing.
Yeah.
And right now the crowd is behind him, and it's just at the risk of sounding like an idiot using just the cheesy cliche words, but it seems entirely organic. Just like their run a couple years ago with him, I feel like they are forced to give him something good because of what the fans are doing and what he is doing. He is the guy who they can put him in a position to do whatever they want, but they cannot ignore his ability, and they haven't recently. I think they've been forced to use him because he's so good.
And I'm so happy about it, and I can't wait for CM Punk to come back. To have these two kind of guys putting on wrestling matches similar to what we've seen twice a night, you know, or God forbid you put them in the main event like with each other, like they did at was No Way Out last year.
Oh boy, I think it was No Way Out. I'm terrible at remembering who fought at what pay-per-views, but I think it was No Way Out.
Which was the June pay-per-view last year.
Some great matches. Yeah, had some great matches last year.
I would love to see that match right now, especially if Cena comes back or
CM Punk.
If Punk comes back and he is a face like people expect him to be, because he's rumored to take on Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's both super faces, you know, it'd be like Hogan and Ultimate Warrior at WrestleMania 6. Just two faces. Let the best guy win. You know, you don't need to tell much more of a story between those two guys. You know, everyone knows their history. They came up through the ranks together. They're good friends. They respect each other. Just let them go at it. Let's just see what happens. That'd be awesome. Sweet.
I mean, we've got right behind us here a Blu-ray of WWE's Greatest Rivalries two disc. I'm a mess tonight, guys. I'm sorry. A 2-disc set of Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart. Why couldn't Punk and Bryan be these next two guys?
If I had to put money on it, it'd be those two guys to be have that Blu-ray out in 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd buy it.
Well, first of all, if there's a Blu-ray out in 20 years, get with the times, brah.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be downloaded, uploaded right to your mind.
Yeah, Google Glass. Or is it Google Glass?
Yeah, it's Google Glass.
Google Glass 2.0.
It's going to be like it's going to be Scroogle in a couple decades.
Scroogle?
Because they're going to own us.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to dominate. But no, if you're watching a Blu-ray in 20 years, you're not my friend.
Oh, you know what I meant.
Yeah, I know.
The equivalent. The Blu-ray equivalent.
HD DVD.
Yeah. You made a comeback somehow. Alright, so we came back after that match. Crowd was really pumped. And Kaitlyn is in the ring waiting for her secret admirer who told her to meet her in the ring here live on Monday Night Raw.
Goy.
Yeah, oh man. You know, I've talked a lot about Kaitlyn's outfits recently and how they weren't the most flattering. She hit a home run last night. It was really, really solid.
Me like.
Yeah. It looks like she was smuggling some melons out of the store.
Okay. You just crossed the line.
Oh, come on. We've talked much worse on the show.
I don't endorse that.
My literal notes say Kaitlyn in ring, waiting for secret admirer, and looking sexy as hell. Big E Langston ends up being the secret admirer. He comes down to the ring.
Oh, I'm looking at your notes too. They say DAYUM.
Damn. Oh my goodness. Oh my damn. Big E comes down to the ring with flowers. He's all dressed up, looking nice.
Looks like he killed a zebra and made a shirt.
A couple zebras, I think. And he goes in for a kiss. He says that it's always been her. He's been attracted to her, and he's admired her from afar, and he wants to take this risk. And he actually grabbed her in his arms.
He had to admire her from afar because his pectoral muscles wouldn't allow him to get any closer to her.
Exactly. And he went in for a kiss, and we were trying to figure out how that would work, because it'd be like, if you ever hold like balloons up, you can't really get close to the next person. But
it's like they're meeting at a bowling lane or something.
Yeah, I know.
Getting ready to... Okay, sorry.
But instead of kissing her, he drops her on her back. And cue AJ Lee's music. She comes out.
Light it up. Light it up.
And she's very, very happy, because apparently she was the mastermind behind the whole thing. Really rubs it into the face of Kaitlyn, which sounds like a good movie. And we're going to finally get...
Guys, I'm not a part of this at all. Right now, Matt's thinking I've betrayed him. He's like, what do you mean? Oh, jeez.
So I didn't know if you were going to catch that little But it looks like we're finally going to get this Divas titles match on Sunday between the two, which was pushed from last pay-per-view for some reason. I'm actually pretty excited for it.
It's one of the few women's matches that I'm looking forward to. It's going to be a good title match, and
It's been a long time coming too.
And I hope they can get Naomi into the mix soon as well. I think she could have some top-notch matches.
Yeah, she needs a little more to her character because I still have problems remembering which one is who.
Okay.
You know,
I'll help you.
Okay.
Sunday will be cool. It'll be great to have a quality women's title match at a pay-per-view.
Yeah, because usually we just go pee and grab an extra hot dog or something during.
You put those two things together.
I know. I did.
What you? You're so icky tonight.
I didn't even mean that.
You're so icky.
What do we eat every time at our pay-per-views? We have hot dogs, right?
Well, there's Sloppy Joes too. You didn't mention Sloppy Joes.
That was like one time.
All right.
It's how even hot dogs.
I've only been there one time.
Okay. Well, Doritos.
Yeah, Doritos.
All right, we'll grab some extra Doritos or something.
Oh God,
Criminy.
This is what happens when you live 4 hours away from your girlfriend.
Yeah, pretty much. I didn't know you have virgin ears, though. Are they bleeding? Are you okay?
Nah.
You all right? You gonna make it?
I don't know what it is tonight. I'm feeling prudish. I don't know why.
It's a little weird. We get some weird feeling tonight, isn't it?
Sorry. My bad.
Next up, we had a Sandow versus an R-Truth. Sandow wins, and he's going to have a match at the pay-per-view, actually, in the pre-show against Sheamus. And how far has Sheamus fallen to be not even make the pay-per-view?
It will start the show, so I'm assuming Sheamus will win to get everybody in a good mood and have them buy the pay-per-view.
It'd be a huge win for Sandow.
Sheamus has been in purgatory for a while, though, because he was in those 6-man matches with Big Show and RKO. With Big Show and RKO, well, it is RKO, Randall, Keith Orton. For a while, he needs to turn heel. If he's going to get back in any relevant title picture, he needs to be a heel. He's a great heel.
You just can't do the same crap every single time, you know. And I think people have shown that you need to evolve. You need to do different.
Yeah, yelling "fella" when you're about to do your special move is not
having that stupid smirk and stupid jokes and you won with a bro kick. Well, okay, bloop bloop bloop. Skip through.
Same here. I'm not excited when I watch his matches at all.
Next came our main event, and I'm using air quotes for that because it was a bullcrap main event. If I ever seen one. Cena comes out, followed by about the whole locker room, who are the lumberjacks, to keep these two away from each other, and Ryback comes out in his ambulance, as he's known to do now. You know, and I keep wondering, I'm like, it's someone's job to get that ambulance for him to ride in. You know? Like, it's like, they have to call, God, again? We need another ambulance, really? He hasn't sent anyone to the hospital, though.
I bet they love that, though, the volunteer firefighters that are doing that or whatever.
Well, yeah, but no, I'm talking about, like, the person who has to organize it. Like, I gotta call another freaking, you know, they could be saving lives tonight.
He sent Zack Ryder to the hospital. Or at least to the ambulance.
Well, I guess Kofi, too.
Yeah.
But whatever. So they have their promo. They talk some crap. It's kind of stupid. Although Ryback did have a good point, and I don't think you heard this because you kind of skipped through it, but
because it was boring.
Yeah, he said he's been screwed 3 times out of winning the. Don't give me a smirk. God, every time. Okay. He's been screwed 3 times out of winning the WWE Championship.
Did it hurt?
Probably. Right in the feels.
In the what?
Right in the feels.
I think I'm learning something. What's that?
It's the feels, you know, your feelings.
Oh, the feels.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Get with it. And he's got a point. He's the Brad Maddox at Hell in a Cell, right? Yep. He had the Shield twice. And actually, he missed one. He got screwed last month when a no contest in a match that he could have won if they just counted a 10. Yep. Like they were supposed to. So he had a point. Like, he goes, you know what? I'm just tired of being screwed over. I'm going to beat you this time. Because Cena was saying, like, you've had your chances. You never won the big one. But he's like, dude, I've been screwed. Like, you can see that. You're not dumb. They end up attacking each other. They don't really even get at it because there's too many guys holding them back. And you made a good observation. It was the heels holding the heel back and the faces holding the Cena back. I don't know. I was just bored with it. They just need to get this angle over with.
Yep. I'm okay with Ryback being a WWE champion. And I wonder if they're hesitant to put it on him to say that years from now, if nothing happens with him, they say, oh, this guy was the WWE champion. Yeah. They usually reserve the World Heavyweight title for those guys. Kali. But he's a believable guy as champion to me.
He is, but he's got no one cares anymore.
Well, if he gets the title, and as Michael Cole says, run roughshod through the WWE, then I'll believe it. But they need to get over that Cena hump first, because Cena's only going to give so much to a guy that, I mean, yeah, he puts on decent matches and he helps elevate guys, but you can't continually have this feud because it's like the opponent is spinning their tires.
Yeah.
It started happening to Punk after a while, too. That no matter how many times Punk beat Cena, it was like, oh, it didn't affect Cena in any way.
Yeah.
Because he just won that last match before WrestleMania, and there, boom.
Mm-hmm.
And they just need to get the belt to Ryback, give Cena some secondary garbage to do, or pass over Ryback this time and then hopefully have him gain some steam by beating the crap out of a bunch of other guys.
I see no way that Ryback wins.
Well, I especially don't now that you spoiled it for me.
Well,
I'm glad you did, though.
Yeah. You were smiling about it. I could tell you were pretty excited.
I wanted to fast clap.
Yeah. So that was Raw. It had its ups and downs, but it was pretty solid.
Again, the wrestling carried this one, and I'm happy to see that because, and I'm happy to see it and say it. For years, even when the wrestling was great, I loved the talking segments when a lot of other people didn't. Now, I look forward to the wrestling each week, and we're getting it, and you can't complain about that. It's getting better.
Yeah, and what's great is some of the match. I mean, I honestly am not sure who's going to win some of these times. You know, like especially with the Shield matches and the Danny Bryan stuff. Like, not only is it going to be a great match, but I can't just skip to the end and know who's going to win.
Yeah.
Like a Sheamus match.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So it's actually exciting on two levels. Like, you're excited to see the match and you're excited to see who's going to win, which is very, 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 very rare.
Yes.
In WWE. So we're going to skip ahead now. We're going to look ahead, actually, to Sunday for the Payback pay-per-view. I got the whole list of matches here, and we're going to... Should we just do predictions?
Yeah, let's give them our picks.
All right, we got Damien Sandow and the Celtic Warrior, Sheamus, taking on each other in the pre-show.
I'm going Sheamus, and the reason is with a lot of these matches that are before a pay-per-view, the idea behind it is that we'll have the good guy win, so that way the people watching get a good feeling, and maybe if they haven't ordered the pay-per-view, they will, because now they're in a good mood. I don't really agree with that, but I'm going to say Sheamus just because he wins matches like that all the time.
I'm going to say Sheamus. I think it'd be more intriguing if Sandow won, because he's never won a big match.
Oh, it
like
would
that.
be. Yeah. It would be.
And it'd be interesting. I mean, maybe they could have a legit feud if Sandow won. But I'm taking Sheamus for the same reasons you mentioned. Ziggler versus Del Rio for the World Heavyweight Championship.
I'm going against my better judgment and picking Ziggy Piggy. I think that he will prove to WWE that he's ready and he's physically healthy, and he'll do it. I don't know if he really is physically healthy, but I don't think they'll take it off of him. I think he has too much, even though he lost some momentum, I think he has too much going for him with Langston and AJ Lee to lose the title.
This is a really tough one, actually. Not knowing Ziggler's full health, I would like to pick Ziggler because I love Ziggler and I think he deserves a run. I think I'm going to take Ziggler, actually. This one is a toss-up because there's a lot of outside factors that we don't know what's going on. But to give Ziggler the belt, and literally, has he even defended it?
Yes.
On a pay-per-view, though?
Not on a pay-per-view.
So this is his first defense. I think he at least gets one win. Even if it's by cheating by AJ or Big E or something, I think he somehow pulls it up. Next up, we have the U.S. Championship, Kane versus Dean Ambrose.
I'm going with Dean Ambrosia. No way they put the belt on Kane. It would be completely useless there. It would harm Ambrose. They stick with him, and they keep on going. And we might see some Shield interference.
Possibly. I'm going to take Ambrose as well. I don't think we'll have any interference.
You know what my favorite part of Raw was, and it's becoming quickly when the Shield has a match, whether it's on Raw or SmackDown, when Ambrose has these single matches. I love how Reigns and Rollins like walk him to the bus stop and then like make sure he's safe, and then they take off. Yeah. I love that.
That's great.
Like the parents. Oh,
like, you have a good day at school.
Yeah. You play nice with those guys.
I wonder if he gets on the bus like, my name is Ambrose, Dean Ambrose.
I got a shiny nice belt.
Yeah. And now we're not strangers no more.
This is where you shut the podcast off because we are dumb.
Yeah, I'm going to take Ambrose as well. I don't think there's going to be any interference. I think he just beats him straight up. He has won every single match that way as champion. Mm-hmm. And I think he wants to be a legitimate champion. And I think WWE wants him to be a legitimate champion.
Monday night he lost by DQ.
That's true. But every time he's put up the belt or been in a championship match, he's won it cleanly.
Yeah, you're right.
So I'm going to go that way as well. Next up, we have RK-No versus The Shield.
I say Shield win. Same reason. I don't think they're losing the belts that quickly, even though I did make an argument that it wouldn't be the first time they had a quick run and that Bryan and Orton had it and then lost it before the next pay-per-view or whatever. But I'm going Shield. I just think they're too hot, and I think the idea of those three each having a belt is too nice to WWE.
I'm going to take the Shield as well for a lot of the reasons you just mentioned. I will say, though, it would be much more interesting story-wise for RK-No to win, for the reason I mentioned earlier in the show. I think it would just open up like a billion different avenues that they could go down that no one would really know what to expect anymore.
If this was a streak for the cash on ESPN pick, I'd probably pick wrong. Because to me, the reason you pair Bryan and Orton is to put the belts on them and see how that dynamic works, and it adds to the storyline. Putting them together and having them lose really makes it all for naught. But WWE has done that before, so I'm still sticking with the Shield.
Yeah. I really hope RK-No wins, actually. Just to see what the fuck happens.
All right.
AJ versus Kaitlyn, Divas title. Is it championship or title?
Championship. Divas championship. They call everything championship. Yeah. It's not a belt. It's championship.
Gotcha.
I'm going AJ because she's going to have the title with Ziggy Piggy. Ziggy Piggy. Ziggy Piggy.
It'd be tough to pick against AJ because it's her first shot at the title.
Mm-hmm.
And she's been the biggest diva in years.
She's so cute.
Yeah, she is.
She's like Drew Barrymore wedding singer cute.
Wow.
Zooey Deschanel 500 Days of Summer cute.
Josie Grossi.
Yes.
From Wedding Singer. Remember, she was going to marry the guy and his last name was Grossi or something?
No, it was Gulia.
Julia Gulia, that's right.
Josie Grossi.
What is Josie Grossi?
Get out. Just get out. I'll finish the podcast.
I think that was her other one, though.
Just go.
Never Been Kissed?
I'll finish it. You just go. I've never seen Never Been Kissed, so maybe I should go.
All right.
Maybe.
Well, I know it's a Drew Barrymore.
Or was it Grody Jody? I don't know.
This is hard. I'm going to take AJ just because I think it's her time.
And you're in love with me and you pick everything I pick?
Well,
just kidding.
But I can see Kaitlyn winning.
I can, but she hasn't really had any defenses.
They keep pushing. Yeah.
I mean, she hasn't really done anything. They've been more concerned with the tag matches. Yeah. Some of them not even involving her. It's been the Bellas and the Funkadactyls.
I missed the Bellas this week.
I did not.
But yeah, I'll take AJ just on a whim, just because I think it's her time. Barrett versus Axel versus The Miz for the IC Championship.
That's how I feel about that match. As much as I'd like to take Wade Barrett, I think Kurt Axel will win for the reasons I outlined. The belt will look nice on him.
Makes sense. I think Axel wins, but I think it's the wrong move by WWE.
Seriously?
I don't even think he should be in the match.
What?
I don't think he should be in that match.
Why?
Doesn't make sense.
Why?
Has he pinned anyone?
Has he lost?
Has he won?
Has he lost? Can I finish?
Can I finish?
Okay, I'm finished.
Can I...
This is the start. This is what kickstarts it. Look, you had Santino Marella win the IC title in his first match as a guy coming out of the crowd.
That's true.
Against Umanga.
Mm-hmm.
You can have Kurt Axel win the title with Paul Heyman as his heavy manager.
I'm just bored with Kurt Axel already.
You stop that. He's Minnesota's own. He's one of us. He's one of us.
Have you ever seen this promo from NXT that people always make fun of?
I probably have.
The evolution of wrestling is I'm the evolution.
Yeah, I probably saw that when it first aired.
Yeah, we should watch this right after.
I'll have to YouTube
It's ridiculous. I might even put it into the show. Right here. All right. That's where I'm putting it in. So did you hear that? That's where it is.
Awesome.
So right now, they've already heard it, and they're like, what are you talking about, dude?
Oh my God, I lolled through that whole thing. You had me lolling the whole time.
Good. That's good. I'll take Axel, but I think it's dumb. CM Punk versus Y2J.
Okay.
If it actually happens.
So now, I'm going to say this happens because I don't think they would advertise this match and not give it to us on a pay-per-view. They've been known to bait and switch before.
Mm-hmm.
I just... a part of me says that it won't happen because we haven't seen or heard from Punk, and it would be weird having him go in there cold, I guess. Mm-hmm. So, okay, hypothetically, we say it happens. I say Punk wins. But if it doesn't happen, I say... I don't know what I say. I don't know if somebody else competes or if there's no match. I think some... Okay, I'll say this. If Punk isn't there, Brock Lesnar will come beat up Jericho. It doesn't make any sense. There's no rhyme or reason, but that's just my guess. If Punk's not there, Lesnar beats up Jericho. That's all. I don't know.
I could see Biggie Langston maybe stepping into that fight. If CM Punk's not there, because they just had the match and he kind of got screwed out of the thing because of the interference.
Yeah.
Possibly. I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. But I would take CM Punk if he comes back, just because... Although, they tend to screw people over in their hometowns.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see him possibly losing, but...
I just don't see Punk losing in a tournament.
Especially if he comes back.
And I think Punk has elevated himself past that.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a dude who won in Chicago 2 years ago in one of the sweetest matches I've seen in a long time.
That was awesome. Yeah.
I might even watch that tonight, too.
Talking about Money in the Bank 2011.
2011.
True. And then we have our main event. John Cena versus Ryback in the 3 stages of Hell match for the WWE Championship.
Now, how did I say this last week? Oh, yeah. Ryback wins Lumberjack match, so he thinks, it's a slam dunk, I'm going to win this tables match, like Devon Dudley. And then Cena wins the table match. No, I'm gonna say Ryback sweeps him 2-0. Okay. There is no ambulance match.
All right.
And then Ryback is so upset that he has swept Cena 2-0 and that there is no ambulance match. After a month of coming out in an ambulance with ambulance music, he beats Cena excessively, and the referee reverses the decision, giving Cena the win in the tables match, tying it at 1, and then Ryback will lose in the ambulance match.
Wow, that's quite the... I can see why you got an interview for a job at WWE Creative there. I think Cena wins the Lumberjack match. That's just my opinion. I don't know why.
I'm glad we disagree.
Because we actually... Yeah, because Cena... Technically, the Lumberjacks are there to make sure that these two guys just fight each other. So they just kind of toss them back in the ring. Cena wins cleanly in those kind of situations.
I think it's going to be a slobber knocker.
Who's going to jump in and attack who from the outside? If
maybe Mark Henry. That's what he'd do.
Yeah, I don't know. I just see Cena winning in that situation. Ryback winning the tables match. I mean, he's been putting people through tables for weeks now. And then
but I think
Cena wins.
I think that's the point, though, because Ryback has been unbeatable when it comes to the tables, or destructive with the tables. I think that they're going to set him up to win that first fall so that it looks insurmountable for Cena. That the tables match is a given for Ryback to the WWE universe. That Cena overcomes it.
But we've seen that a million times.
And we're going to see it a million more.
I hope not. I don't know. I don't really care. Cena's going to win. Everyone knows it.
John Cena.
All right. So that's our Payback preview.
Yes.
Next up, we got our top 10, and we're going to fly through these. Top 10 factions of all time.
Okay.
Jimmy, you want to start off with number 10?
I want to give a disclaimer like I do for most top 10s. Look, I'm sure... your faction in AWA was awesome, and I'm sure Paul Heyman's Dangerous Alliance was cool back in 1981 or whenever that happened. We're not talking about that. We're talking about... And look, your Four Horsemen... yes, Four Horsemen, great. You do that thing with the four fingers. We're happy for you, okay? Where'd your thumb go? I don't know. I only see those other four fingers.
We didn't have the Four Horsemen?
No, we do have the Four Horsemen, but I'm telling you, I didn't break it down to the Four Horsemen when so-and-so was in it. Because, look, Steve Mongo McMichael was a horseman at one time. That, to me, stains everything. Come on.
Well, you can look at some of the people maybe in some of the groups that we're going to mention.
That's why this disclaimer goes for every faction. Just like our top 10 list, when we had... What was the one we did a couple weeks ago? It was...
Most powerful? Or
most powerful, where I said I'm taking these guys at their very best, in their prime. I'm taking these groups at their very best because each group inevitably, most of them at least, not all of them, but most of them have had fringe members, or they've had an original group and it's expanded into something else or changed or gotten watered down. We're taking each of them at their best. So here's number 10. Number 10 is Raven's Flock. And also, I've got to say, look, it's been a busy week for both of us. We have not dissected each member of the teams.
No.
So, I'm not going to sit here and say, Raven's Flock with this guy and this guy. So there's a chance I miss them. But here's what I remember of Raven's Flock off the top of my head. Raven, of course, with that sweet flannel and leather jacket.
Oh, yeah.
Perry
Very
Saturn.
grunge style.
Saturn.
Perry Saturn, yeah.
Lodi. Mm-hmm. Sick Boy. Riggs. Reese.
I'm blanking on all
Seriously?
these guys. Yeah, I'm having a tough time.
Yeah, and Van Hammer.
I remember Van Hammer.
Yeah, so those are 7 guys. I'm not saying they didn't have more than that, but I'm pretty sure that was the 7 guys. Those guys were awesome, and this was in crappy WCW.
Yeah.
They were so cool.
And I loved Raven's Rules.
Raven's Rules?
Yeah.
And then just the way he'd lean back and just slide into the corner.
Kind of like Jake the Snake would.
Yeah. Very similar. Yeah. Number 9 is the Nation of Domination.
We are the Nation.
And we're talking Rock, Farouk,
Mark Henry,
Kama, also known as the Godfather, D'Lo Brown.
Yep.
And then I think Owen Hart was in the Nation for a little bit, and then they beat him up. I think it was a double cross or something. It was wait a minute. One of these things is not like the other.
Mm-hmm. Because he's Canadian.
Because I think DX did the same thing to Owen Hart for a day. They had him and then they beat him up.
Really?
Yeah, and then he died.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then number 8, here's one right away that I can't remember exactly who was in it. I'd have to Wikipedia this one. The McMahon-Helmsley regime. That one changed off and on. There were people in and out, but it was mostly Vince, Stephanie, Triple H, and I think Vince was out after a while. I think they turned on him or whatever.
That was when I'm not really caught up on the history of them. I think that was still kind of my wishy-washy area of history that I need to catch up on a little more.
And I loved that group because I hated them so much. They were good. In fact, look up McMahon-Helmsley regime right now.
Sure.
And let's see. Number 7 is a group that remained unchanged from its original Evolution, as JR calls them, but Evolution, with Triple H. Triple H was a part of a lot of these factions. Triple H, Ric Flair, Batista, Ric Flair's main man, Batista, and Randy Orton.
All right, the members.
All right, here's McMahon-Helmsley.
McMahon-Helmsley. Stephanie, Triple H, Vince, Shane, which we missed, D-Generation X, and the Stooges.
Yes, Patterson and Briscoe.
These wrestlers were also known to associate with the McMahon-Helmsley faction. Stone Cold, The Big Show, Kurt Angle, Jericho, Big Boss Man, Dudley Boys, Shawn Michaels, Test and Albert, Edge and Christian. There's a lot. William Regal.
Not bad.
Yeah.
And I think Regal was the commissioner at the time.
Sounds about right. Yeah.
That was a sweet faction. Very, very underrated, and I think they kind of fall by the wayside when you think of all the other McMahon / Triple H factions.
It was a good run they had.
Back to Evolution.
Evolution, yep.
I mean, this Orton came into
Batista. You had 2 future world champions, as well as the current world champion in Triple H, and of course the 16-time world champion in Ric Flair.
And I think Flair and Batista were tag champions while Evolution was together.
I wouldn't doubt it. Yeah, I can't remember, but I wouldn't doubt it at all. It was a really cool faction. I mean, you definitely could see, the potential. And Randy Orton was kind of the chosen one, but Batista was just a monster as well. And we talked extensively about Batista recently. Really cool, really dominating. Definitely worth top 10.
So number 6.
Number 6.
We
were just talking about him, the 4 Horsemen.
Now, I don't want to put you on the spot because I don't think I can do it. I might be able to, and some of you guys who are longtime wrestling fans will be like, "You guys are fucking posers. You can't do this." But I think the original 4 Horsemen are Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, Tully Blanchard, and is it Barry Windham? They are the original 4 Horsemen. But right now, I
believe there was 5, weren't there?
I don't know.
I mean, there have been 5.
Yeah, but I mean, there have been quite a few Horsemen. I mean, Chris Benoit was a Horseman. Like Dean Malenko was.
Yeah.
But I think that was the original 4.
The original 4. Arn Anderson. Ole Anderson.
Oh, yeah. Ole.
Tully Blanchard. With James J. Dillon.
Okay, yeah.
And,
please,
and I believe
J.J. Dillon.
And Flair. And then they would feud. They feuded with Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, Barry Windham, and the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah.
Nikolai Koloff and stuff too. But
Nikita Koloff?
Yeah, Nikita Koloff. Correct. Yes. So yeah, that was cool. My favorite was Arn Anderson. I always hated Flair when I was growing up, but Arn Anderson was awesome. The Enforcer.
Yeah, he was.
I loved his spine buster.
Not my spot, your spot. Our spot.
I still like Arn Anderson. He doesn't look like. I mean, he looks like one of those guys you'd see at a bar who just would beat up.
He looks like a country singer.
Yeah, a little bit. I can see him having a little.
Looks like George Jones. Wait, great.
Conway Twitty a little bit.
And then some of these, there's 3 factions in particular that are kind of 2 that became 1 that kind of gives it away. But my number 5 is the corporate ministry. That was the mix of the corporation and the Ministry of Darkness. Of course, this was corporation after The Rock was kicked out. But, I mean, the army assembled in the corporate ministry. We're talking everyone from the Mean Street Posse and Paul Bearer to The Undertaker and Triple H. Just a sweet group of just dominating.
When they merged the 2, you're like, oh shit.
Bradshaw and Farouk.
Yeah.
Edge and Christian and Gangrel were in it.
Yeah, from the Brood.
Just it's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. And it leads into your number 4.
My number 4 team is the Ministry of Darkness. I've talked several times about how cool I thought The Undertaker was, that this was the best Undertaker. And he had Mideon and Viscera. He took 2 guys who no one cared about, Mabel, and no one cared about Dennis Knight from Southern Justice, and Phineas Godwin, or whatever the hell he was before that, with he and Phineas and Henry Godwin. No one cared about him, and they made them relevant. They made them a decent tag team, and you had to love that because they were scary, and and
the goatee.
Yeah, the goatee with no mustache.
Yep.
Badass. And mid to late teens, that was pretty cool, pretty creepy and cool. And number 3?
Number 3, are you ready?
Doom, doom.
You better get ready to bow to the master.
The King of Rock who? The King of Rock what? The King of Rock. Now, again, DX has seen many iterations. Yeah, iterations, thank you. I mean, we had the
original.
Well, we had the original Shawn Michaels, Triple H,
the Road Dogg, Billy Gunn.
Well, jeez.
X-Pac.
That was my water. But Shawn Michaels is never really with Road Dogg and Billy Gunn and X-Pac, he had already kind of left WWE at that point. And it was Triple H who took on... Well, I mean, China was with Shawn Michaels.
Oh, yeah, China.
And Triple H. But then it was Triple H, China, X-Pac. I keep wanting to say HBK, but X-Pac, the New Age Outlaws, Billy Gunn and Road Dogg. Rick Rude was in there at one time, and then later on it turned into like DX, and then like DX 2000 when it was like Tori, not Tori Wilson, but Tori, that Jezebel, and then Stephanie McMahon Helmsley. Mike Tyson was in there for a little bit. I'm Mike Tyson.
WrestleMania 15.
And
was it 15?
Yeah. And
14.
14. And that was back when it was still Michaels and Triple H and I think China. But to me, the DX that I have in my head, it's definitely Michaels, even though he wasn't part of that main run. But Michaels, HBK,
Michaels and HBK.
It's funny because I see
greatest tag team of all time.
I see HHH in my head when I say that. But Triple H, HBK, X-Pac, Billy Gunn, Road Dogg, and China. Yeah. Those 6 to me are DX.
Absolutely, and they made their mark on history. You weren't quite as good as our number 2 team, though.
No.
And I could make an argument.
And here's the thing: instead of 2 and 1, I want this to be 1A and 1B.
Yeah.
And you can take, and by you I mean the listener and Matt, you take the one that you want to be 1A and make it your own.
Sure.
And I'll tell you why I have my 1 at 1 after we tell you what on the list is number 2, but really these are the 2 number 1s.
This is my number 1. If I was making the list, this would be my number 1. It's the New World Order, the NWO.
New World Order.
And we're talking about the original New World Order, black and white, that took over WCW. You got Hogan, Hollywood Hogan. You got Kevin Nash. And Scott Hall, of course.
I'm oozing machismo.
Yeah.
Say hello to the bad guy.
To the bad guy.
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo. Yeah, I mean, their mark on history is just, it still lasts today. I still see their shirts in WWE, and they only spent a few months as the NWO in WWE. But you want to talk about running roughshod over someone. I mean, they completely took over WCW for years, and it was never the same. I don't think we would have ever had the Attitude Era if the NWO didn't come, and make a big challenge to the WWF.
And that's a great point that you brought up right there. I think you're right on the money, and I didn't think about that until you said that tonight. The reason I have them below another faction is because it's a WCW product.
Sure.
To me, it'd be like if you hit 50 home runs in AAA, it's still not the majors. It's AAA. That's just how I've always viewed WCW. Even though great things have come from WCW and great guys were in there, the great guys wrestled in WWE after, great guys wrestled in WWE before and went to WCW. And of course, I'm in full agreement with you on NWO being those 3 guys. Not when Ted DiBiase joined as a manager, and then you had
Sting,
Macho Man, Bogus Sting, Bryan Adams, Vincent, Buff Bagwell. Did I say Scott Norton? I love Scott Norton. But I mean, once, and I'm not talking about NWO Elite. I'm not talking about NWO Wolfpack. I'm not talking about
Latino World Order.
Yeah, none of that. Not talking about the BWO.
The black and white.
But yeah, we're talking about the original, and that's it. Not when I think 3/4 of the roster ended up being NWO, where it's like, well, there's no WCW guys. The original guys, and then I love Macho Man, so we can throw Macho Man in there. That's cool. But I know that with Macho Man, it was a lot. Elizabeth was in there, and I'm whatever, okay.
But I mean, not only. They just dominate. I mean, it was unlike anything we've ever seen.
Don't forget Bischoff.
Yeah, well, Bischoff, of course. But, I mean, when they first came in, and they would just walk up during a match, knock them out, and start talking. This match is over. Guess what? We don't care. We're the NWO. We're going to take over this television. They go into the announce booth and just push the guys away.
Oh, and
guess what?
X-Pac.
Oh, yeah.
X-Pac was in that faction. 6.
Yeah. Just... I can't talk about it enough. I could talk about the NWO for days.
Well, and this was kind of when you fell in love or back in love with wrestling.
Yeah.
So
I'd always loved wrestling, but I was shocked. I'd heard of WCW because Hulk Hogan went there. Hulk Hogan was my guy, and I heard that he was a bad guy, and I'm like, what the hell? And I started watching it, and it's unbelievable. All I want to do is see Hulk Hogan get beat.
Yeah,
it was the greatest heel faction I've ever seen. Because every single time you wanted to see him beat, with a passion, because you hated them so much.
To me, it was great because WCW came out with the THQ AKI video games prior to WWE getting the license. So you didn't have WWF WrestleMania 2000 or No Mercy until after you had WCW versus NWO World Tour and Revenge. And Revenge was awesome. And I remember both of those games. When I played them, I wanted to be Hulk Hogan every time because he was just a monster, and he was so strong and so tough.
I was always Goldberg, of course.
Goldberg was in Revenge, not World Tour.
Yeah, he was.
In Revenge, my guy, my main man, was Scott Norton. In some podcasts, we'll have my friend Ryan Kresge on here as a guest, and we will talk about the epic match we had when he was Goldberg and I was Scott Norton, and I kicked out of 2 jackhammers to win. Oh my gosh, it was awesome.
I remember talking crap to, I think it was actually your brother, and Chafee. And, me and Adam Rice, we thought we were the shit because we would just kick a computer's ass. So we're like, pick whoever you want. We'll be, what's that guy in the mask, the skeleton?
La Parka.
I'll be La Parka.
Where he started the match with a chair.
Yeah. I'm like, I'll be La Parka.
He was the chairman of WCW.
Exactly. So they picked the 2 wimpiest dudes. They picked basically Kevin Nash and someone else. They beat us so badly. I think I'm still hurt from the beating that I got back in 7th grade. They had it down to a science. It was like bear hug, slam, pick me up, bear hug, slam. Finisher, pin. I'm like, whoa. Yeah. Well, that was fun.
Yeah. Well, I could get it to the point where you could dodge at the right time, you could block at the right time. It was one or the other. I could figure out which one it was going to be. The thing about that game, though, that some people didn't realize, but if you tapped the analog stick when you were getting pinned, no matter how beaten you were, you would kick out every single time.
Really?
Yeah. And they corrected that in subsequent games. They corrected that, I think, once WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy came around. You might have been able to do it in WrestleMania 2000, but I think they fixed it after Revenge. But in Revenge, all you had to do was tap that at any time. And of course, my friends and I, we banned that.
Yeah.
You can't do that, you can't do it. And we did not do that. We did not cheat. But you do it against the computer if you were losing, no problem.
I never knew that. Maybe that's why I could never beat Chafee. I don't know. You're number 1.
Number 1 is the Corporation. And to me, as you said, NWO ushered in or helped WWE create the Attitude Era. The Corporation was the Attitude Era. Mm-hmm. It was this force that was created to prevent one man, Stone Cold Steve Austin, from succeeding. Mm-hmm. And they had some epic battles.
I loved when The Rock joined them. That was, I think, probably the peak. Especially when The Rock kind of betrayed. He was huge as a face. He was almost as over as Stone Cold, if not as over. And he just turned and joined forces with McMahon. And I couldn't believe it because I love The Rock. I like The Rock even more than Stone Cold. Mm-hmm. And he was my guy. And I'm like, he's fucking kidding. God.
They had that tournament, that championship tournament at Survivor Series. And The Rock had gained this momentum after leaving the nation and being a bad guy. He'd become the people's champion. Mm-hmm. And Vince and Shane were going to screw him no matter how hard Rock tried to succeed, they were going to screw him and he would not win. And he ended up being the one on their side. Yeah. And they helped him win the championship.
It was an awesome angle.
It was sweet.
Yeah.
And with that came this corporate champion. He went from the people's champion to a corporate champion.
The corporate elbow and the corporate eyebrow.
And that gave birth to, I think, the greatest feud in wrestling history. Just overall, Rock versus Stone Cold. Rock and Triple H had some great matches before that when they fought for the IC title. And after that, it was Rock and Triple H a lot. In fact, they were forced to be teammates. I think one of the only times they ever teamed up when they were both for a short time in the corporation. They overlapped a little bit when Triple H double-crossed DX and joined the corporation. Rock and Triple H butted heads, but they were still together for a little bit before Rock was kicked out.
God, just look at all the crap that happened in that short time. And then we look at the current product, and not a lot of stuff like that happens. You
have Vince and Shane McMahon, the Mean Street Posse, Rodney, Joey Abs, Pete Gas, Big Boss Man, Ken Shamrock, Test, Big Show, Pat Patterson, Gerald Briscoe. I think that might be it. Then you had Triple H, you had The Rock at one time. And then, of course, you had Billy Gunn and the Road Dogg pretend to join the corporation one night where they were wearing suits. They came out in suits and they were going to join the corporation, but then they ripped off their suits and, oh, that was sweet. I loved that group. I get a smile on my face when I think about them, and that was some of the most fun I've had watching wrestling.
Absolutely. And I love that time because I would flip between, I think it was like 42 and 43 or something, like, because they were on different channels, or US 44 and 42 or something. But I would just be on that thing flipping back and forth like the whole night. And I would just stop on whatever was the most fascinating at the time and go with that. And it was great, like, because they were both at their peak. They always had something crazy going on. It was always fun. And you had two corporations, for lack of a better word, competing against each other. And they come up with the craziest crap they could ever think of, and out of it comes, the two greatest factions of all time, three greatest factions of all time.
So to close this, I have one thing to say. Here's a couple of people we forgot. Chyna was in the corporation. Kane at one time was. Shawn Michaels as commissioner. And Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh yeah, the Sarge.
So that was a pretty badass.
Did you say Big Boss Man?
Yep, Big Boss Man and Ken Shamrock. They were tag team champions. And then also a correction that I should have said last week, but forgot. 2 weeks ago, I gave you shit for...
Yes, you did.
For Brock Lesnar's debut in WWE in 2002.
And who did he defeat? Was it the Hardys?
It was not the Hardys.
It wasn't the Hardys.
No, it was Al Snow and Maven. And was somebody else in that match?
Possibly. I think so.
But Al Snow and Maven were involved in a hardcore match. And there may have been a third guy in the ring. I just saw the YouTube clip of a couple weeks ago. But I could have sworn it was the Hardys. It was not. So I owe you a Red Bull. And that's my bad. Or no, now we're even.
We're even.
Wasn't there something else?
Yeah, I owed you a Red Bull for...
I'm getting
so good looking.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm getting so old I can't remember anymore. But I do. That being said, it must have been like right after that or the next week maybe that Jeff Hardy was in the ring. I thought Matt was too. It was a Hardy's tag match or something. Because I remember Jeff, I think, hitting Brock in the head with a chair, and Brock no-sold it, and he got decimated after.
Sounds
that.
about right.
Yeah. But Brock gave. I think he gave Al Snow like an F5 onto the chair or something. It was, or a garbage can lid or something. I just watched it. I should remember, but
he did the triple power bomb right onto the.
Spike Dudley.
Yeah,
Spike Dudley. There you go. There's the three guys.
Right onto the can.
Yep.
And he was looking like a monster. And the next big thing had arrived for real. Like he was legit. But that's our show for the night. It's funny, we had talked like, okay, let's not go an hour, we're both really tired. We go like our longest show of all time.
This was good.
Yeah, it was fun. Hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure to check out Payback on Sunday. We'll be here next week. Actually, you won't be here.
We will. I won't be here for the show next week. I'll call in. I'll be out of town. But I'll call in. We're going to have a guest host, so maybe even guest hosts.
Maybe even two, yep.
Matt will be there, but he might have a couple co-hosts. We will be at Payback via television.
Yep, and we'll be tweeting, I'm sure.
We'll be tweeting during that, and we'll give you our thoughts. Excuse me, I had a burp/hiccup.
That's all right.
We'll give you our thoughts on the pay-per-view and It's going to be a blast.
Yeah. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, at Immortals PCast,
Yes.
at 97Bush, at Jimmy Bellamy. Check us out on iTunes. Be sure to rate us and subscribe to us on iTunes. We actually got 6 ratings, and now I forgot to tell you, we when you go to that podcast app, you type in WWE, we are on the front page.
Oh, that's sweet. Keep it up. Keep giving us some steam.
I was so excited. I looked at it last night and my jaw dropped because we were down like 30 at one point. But yeah, we are on the front page. If you type in WWE, we come up. Thank you guys. We love it.
Keep it up. We love you guys.
All right. Peace.